So, we have a new addition to announce today to that middleware suite. It's a product called OOW Beehive, a brand new product written from scratch, completely Web 2.0 enabled native technologies. We want to describe to you what that is, and there's two words we want you to remember about this product called Beehive.
Okay, I can remember these.
Can you say two words?
Integrated and secure.
All right, let's tell them what this thing is.
Okay, Beehive is a brand new product. It's a product we built from scratch over the last 3 years. A completely new architecture and, again, complete new set of products. What Beehive is it's a collaboration server. And just to take a minute to talk about collaboration, it really means two things, because the word is used pretty broadly in the industry. It means all the functions to communicate. And you'll see a number of them listed up here. Things like sending an email, voicemail, doing an instant messaging session, being able to do chats and the like. So that's the communications part of collaboration. The second part is the coordination. And that's things like joint calendars, being able to share documents among team members, and being able to understand who's a part of the team. So content and people working together, both communication and coordination, is where we targeted Beehive.
So everybody in the room has email and a calendar, so why spend 3 years, all this money developing email, calendar, collaboration, all these things?
Exactly, great question. I've got this stuff. I've got email, I've got IM. What's the big deal? Well, you have those things, but you also have what looks kind of like a disease. We call it collaboration fragmentation. And the idea is as you have those different applications, they come with their own database, they come with their own way of managing and identifying users, they come with their own security mechanisms, and they also come with their own management. So from an IT standpoint, as well as from a user standpoint, a lot of times it becomes a nightmare of trying to coordinate what you did in IM, what you want to do on a web conference, email and calendar and the like. And what we did with Beehive is we've integrated all those capabilities together. So one of the first things that we've all memorized from the slide is integration. And let's talk about it. It means several things. First thing that integration means is the fact that Oracle Beehive is one integrated product. If you look at all those different disparate functions, we've built them into one product, and based on that, you get all the benefits of a single product. You get to identify users as a group that apply to all the applications. You get to set preference and security roles across all of them, and you get to centrally manage one server, which again contains all the products. So it's integrated into one product.
So we're using this internally at Oracle. Many groups are, you and I have been using it to work on this presentation together, and we have external customers using it. Just give them a sense of, instead of hundreds and hundreds of Exchange and SharePoint servers, how many servers do we have running thousands of people?
Well, we're running virtually one server, and we're using Rack to provide high availability, and but the scaling of Oracle products underneath Beehive really lets us narrow down from what typically would be, you're exactly right, hundreds of servers down to literally a handful.
So you mentioned the infrastructure underneath it. Talk about integration with the rest of Oracle.
Exactly. So that's the second part of integration, which is integrated with all the Oracle products. Starting with the database, again, Beehive stores, uses the database as a repository for data and other information. We also use major components of the Fusion middleware stack to do things like enterprise document management, records management. Also integrate with applications and with the Web Center product to create a unified experience too. So again, getting all the benefits of the Oracle products integrated together and delivered with Beehive.
So this is the fundamental tenet of how Oracle develops products generally. We like things that are integrated in one place, consistency across the components. Same thing applies to that word secure. So we want one place to set up all your user roles that apply across all these functions with this mail calendar. You can find that user once, and all those applications are aware of what that user's role is. Define the security policies once for a document or for a user. You don't have to redo that for each application, each component and function within collaboration, and one access control layer. Centralized policy management across this entire suite of products.
Next thing we want to spend just a minute on is the fact that Beehive is open. And open, again, has many facets to it. You look at the integrated stack and you can say, well, gee, does that mean I have to buy all these components from Oracle? Do I have to use them all together? But we already talked about the fact that as part of our strategy, things are open. That applies to Beehive as well. First of all, it's open to choice of client. If your users are users, and you can see some of them scrolling by, using Outlook as a client, using the Apple client tools, using open source from Mozilla, using different calendar clients. So whether they're standard clients or de facto standard clients, we support those with Beehive. So you don't have to change the experience for your users if you don't want.
You also have a choice of infrastructure. If you want to use Windows or Linux or Unix as your operating system, that's your choice. Within collaboration, we use the Oracle directory, of course, but if you have a third-party directory that's LDAP compliant or some other directory like Active Directory, you can look up users there and use that as your directory as well. Same thing for identity management. We obviously have our own identity management system, which is standards compliant, but if you have a third-party one already installed, we'll support that as well.
We went even a step further, which is we have very tight coexistence with certain products. You can see a couple of them listed. Let me just spend a minute on Microsoft Exchange. Obviously, it's installed in a lot of places, and what we've done with Beehive is let you coexist. So you can leave your Exchange server there doing what it's doing. You can put Beehive next to it, share emails, and even share calendar to the extent of you can do free busy lookups from one calendar system to the next. So it's a much deeper level of integration, so you don't have to jump to Beehive all at once. You can take it in incremental steps.
But just to be clear, there'd be one Beehive server next to 200 Exchange servers.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. It's also open as a development platform.
Yeah, if you go back to the days, I guess even before I was at Oracle, Lotus had a product. There was a product called Lotus Notes, now owned by IBM. And what that was an open platform where you could literally build kind of mini applications on a collaboration platform. And what we've done with Beehive is updated that so that the development environment that you use is industry standard. Java applications, using web services, using standard BIPL, and even using .NET to build applications that run on top of Beehive and take advantage of its collaborative capabilities.
Okay, great. So now we want to do a demo. We've had two members from the Beehive colony come up and join us. And quietly come up to stage. So let's start to show you some software, because this is very cool stuff to demo in this collaboration Web 2.0 world.
All right, so we have two workstations up here, and for the purposes of this demo, I'm a Mac and Charles is a PC. Actually, for purposes of the demo, we're both PC. So what you'll see running is we're both running Exchange 2007. And the first point is that, again, choice of clients, you can use your client the way it is. So this is standard Outlook. Let's just click through a couple of the different capabilities. So tasks, contacts, if you're an Outlook user, you're familiar. Calendar, if you look at my calendar, I have a pretty easy week. I have this presentation, and then I think I've got a lunch meeting later this week, but that's it. And mail. So this is, again, Outlook running against a live Beehive server backstage, but it looks to a user just like Outlook. But we didn't stop there, obviously. We wanted to make all the clients better, and so we now make Outlook better, and we'll walk through a few of the capabilities that deliver on that promise. First thing is, you'll see where you had email folders before, you have a thing called My Workspace. What this is it's a personal workspace where I can store and do the bulk of my work, not just email. And let's take a look at some of the things I can do in that workspace. I've stored documents, and this can be a variety of kinds. We've got a Word document here that I've stored in a folder. We can also work with other kinds of applications. So what you'll see here is an instant messenger session that Charles and I had previously. We took the text, stored it away in Beehive, so you can go back and reference IM transcripts. You also see other kinds of documents. Here you'll see a PowerPoint presentation, again, stored in a personal workspace. Also, other kinds of data types can be stored in Beehive. And let's listen for a second to a recorded transcript of a web conferencing we had at Beehive earlier.
Thanks for joining this week's Executive Weekly Meeting.
So again, all stored in the same folder system, but transforming simple Outlook into this powerful concept of workspaces.
So you can see, you can start to organize the way you work, all different types of documents and content, right in the context of Outlook, an application you're already familiar with, and just enhanced it. So now what we want to do is take that same concept of a personal workspace and expand it to a team workspace. So you can see how powerful it is on a personal level. On a team level, that's when we start to get into collaboration. So a team workspace is, like it sounds, a team of people can be identified, work together, have access to certain documents. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to take a workspace, a team workspace I've already set up to work on this open world presentation with Chuck. I'm going to add him to that team workspace. Let's see what happens. And then I'm going to add a document to it. Let's see what happens. And then I'm going to reverse that. I'm going to take that document out and delete it, see what happens to the rest of the team members, and then remove Chuck from that team workspace. So you can see all the security policy and what's happening as I'm doing that. So to start off with, we already have a workspace set up for open world preparation, you see. So the first thing I need to do is to add Chuck to this workspace. So let me go and do a simple lookup in the directory. We found him there. We want to add him to it. Okay, great. So now that he's been added, let's see what happens on his side. I've asked it and requested him to join this team workspace.
What I got on my side was an email notification, and you can use any mechanism, IM, whatever, but it lets me know I've been invited to join this workspace. So I'll go in and join. And the reason we do this is you don't want to be inundated with automatically being put into these workspaces. So you have a choice of whether you join or not. So a few clicks, and I now join this workspace. And when I do that, you'll see that I have all the information in the workspace that Charles has, again, all organized and coordinated through the Beehive server. Now, when I was added as a member to the workspace, it didn't just add me for sharing documents, it also gave me the ability to be part of email distribution lists, scheduled events on my calendar, IM buddy lists, etc. So again, universal, one single membership.
So all that happened just by adding him to the workspace. He inherited all those capabilities. All that is no creating buddy lists from scratch, no distribution lists from scratch. He now inherits all that. So now what we want to do is show some collaboration, what we can do. So one of the things that we want to do here is use a feature we call drag and share. I'm going to take a document from my desktop, and I'm going to put it into the workspace, and he should have access to it. Let's see how that all works. So we have a document already created on my desktop. I want to add it to the workspace, and it should show up for Chuck to be able to work on as well.
Again, a powerful mechanism by me being part of the workspace, or literally hundreds or thousands of people being part of a workspace, they automatically have access to these documents.
Okay. Now, I had already set up an appointment for anyone who's working on this project with me. We need to start to collaborate on this document. We run out of time, so it should already be on his calendar that we have this a time set aside to start working on this document.
Yeah, so let's go back and look at my calendar, and you can see that my calendar got a lot busier because by joining the workspace, all the events of the team have now been added to my calendar. And one of those events is a web conferencing that's actually scheduled for now. So I just click on my calendar. Because web conferencing is integrated, I look at the details of that meeting, I click join, and now the system automatically launches the web conference, and I'll be seeing on my screen exactly what Charles, who's the presenter of the meeting, is running on his.
So now we want to demonstrate real-time collaboration. So we are sharing screens now. We're in a web conference that quickly, that easily. So let's make a change here and add another bullet point to the slide. And both of our screens should be changing. And Chuck, if you want to make a change on your side just to show it's two-way.
Yeah, and we have to remember the word secure, so we need to get that on our slide too. So let's add that from our workstation over here. Charles has pass control over here. I can add it, pass control back to him, and we can declare victory. Save the slide.
So all that happened quickly just because of the concept of team workspaces, had access to that document, share it, web conferencing already on his calendar, didn't have to type all that in. So now let's look at, on the administrative side of it, how you can administer the system. It's a lot more efficient, a lot easier to do. And one of the things I want to show to kind of start to describe the security aspects of this is now that we've done that, collaborated on that document, let's say the show is over, I want to delete that document. It has some other sensitive information in here that I don't want laying around. Well, a feature called True Delete. When I delete it from the workspace, it is really gone. So let's do that. Let's see what happens when I take this document out of the workspace, the team workspace, and delete it. Okay, so it should be gone. It certainly shows it's gone from my machine. Chuck, what about your side?
Well, on my side, it's gone as well, but I'm one of these savers, and so I want to keep everything forever. I think someday I might use a document, even though I never do. But I saved this document on my desktop because, if Charles deleted it, I want to have access to it. So let me go in and open this document from my desktop. There's a bit of a problem because what Charles did from a security point of view with True Delete literally made it so that I can't even get at the document that I had stored on my desktop. And we'll pass by the details of encryption and keys, but the idea is the document's encrypted, and that when Charles deleted it, he destroyed that key. So no matter where I put that document, it goes to look for the key, and if it can't find it, I can't get at the document. So True Delete, no matter where it is, it's actually deleted.
So building on that security thing, we also have workspace access control. So now when I remove Chuck from the workspace because the project is over, I no longer need that. So let's see what happens when I remove it from the workspace.
So once I'm removed from the workspace, then all my privileges, rights, access to documents, folder, etc., literally disappear. Those calendar events would come off, and you'll see here that all the documents that I had access to are now deleted.
So I want to show off a few other features for administrator. We have a console called Beekeeper, but one of the key features of that is this is completely audited. So everything that you saw is showing up in a log, in an audit trail. So every event here, when I added it to the workspace, when I added a document, it creates a log. You can actually read line by line and see exactly what happened. So true log file audit control. Great, so we saw that. So let's go in. It's easy to use, it's centralized, and this is called Beekeeper. So administrators can set up all the security policies in one place, administer all the roles in one place. All the things you just saw happen was because of that administration had already been set up to make that happen. So to summarize, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys. Well, they're going to buzz over to the demo area, so if you want to see a hands-on demo, they'll be there, dressed like that.